Episode 51. Logan's Good Side. The old butler smiled.
Luckily, Logan has a good temper. If it were people from another family, they wouldn't have listened to us.
Alex said. Logan was the pride of the entire family. That's right. Logan is very different from the others. He is a good kid. That's why I take care of him. I love him too much and would never want anything bad to happen to him, Grandmother added. By this time, it was evident that she was a little tired. It was really hard for her to stay up all night at her age. Alex told her to go to bed early and that house help would take care of everything else. She had spent all her energy on the management of the Smith Group and got tired quickly these days. Before she slept, she thought about what had happened today and was still worried. She called Alex to her room and told him that he should keep an eye on a few people that she had named, especially Elizabeth. She told him not to let her get too close to Logan. She noticed that ever since Violet became Logan's secretary, the people of the Kingston family were a little nervous. Why? Could it be that there was some kind of unknown secret inside? That night, Logan was also tossing and turning. It was hard for him to fall asleep. There was a beautiful woman sleeping on his bed. He wanted to carry Violet to her bed, but the moment he touched her body, he felt as if he had been electrocuted. His heart raced and his throat dried up. He quickly pulled away as if his hands had gotten burnt. Luckily, Violet was asleep. If she was awake, the two of them might have quarreled or even fought. It was so annoying. Back then, he had promised his grandmother that he would let Violet take care of him. It was the wrong decision. Violet was clearly having a much stronger effect on him, and he knew it too well. He did not sleep well the whole night and kept tossing and turning on Violet's small bed. The bed smelled like Violet. She had this distinct smell that Logan could identify anywhere. He closed his eyes and began to dream back to that night 4 years ago. The hotel's large bed, an unfamiliar woman. When he woke up, he was covered in sweat, as if he had just experienced something incredibly romantic and satisfying. Logan rubbed his hair in frustration and dragged his shoes to the bathroom. After a while, he came out and stood in front of Violet's bed. He kept staring at her.
You are right. You slept very well.
He put his hands on his waist and sneered at Violet, who was on the bed. In the end, he took a deep breath and suppressed the impulse to roar at the sky. He pinched Violet's delicate nose and climbed back into the small bed in the compartment. Violet did not stir and kept on sleeping. The next day, Violet indeed did not remember anything. She only felt sore all over her body. That feeling made her think of a particular night 4 years ago, but it was different. She tried to stretch her bones and did a few yoga movements on the bed. Other than being a little sore, there was nothing else that made her feel uncomfortable. She was relieved. She didn't remember much. She looked down, and only then did she realize she was sleeping on Logan's bed. At that time, she screamed and sat up from the bed. Why was she in his bed? What was happening? The more she thought about it, the more confused she got. It couldn't be. She couldn't have done something terrible, right? Although the director was very handsome, she only admired him. She had never thought of doing anything with him. More importantly, she would not dare to do anything with the director. She knew how badly she needed this job. But what was going on now? Why did she sleep in his bed? Upon closer inspection, the bedding seemed to be neat and tidy, and so she was slightly relieved. She calmed herself down. There was nothing unusual about her body either. The only sexual experience she had had was on that ridiculous night 4 years ago, and she knew how she had felt when she had regained consciousness that day. This was different. She did not feel like she had experienced anything at all, but she still kept thinking, just to be 100% sure. She patted her chest with lingering fear. She began to look around, looking for Logan.
What are you thinking? Why are the thoughts in your head so disgusting?
Logan asked as he looked at her. How do you know what I am thinking? Violet had not seen Logan yet, but she had been provoked by his words. She did not care about whether he was the boss or not. She directly retorted. But later, she realized that she should not have said anything and felt a little embarrassed, too. Logan came out from the other room and glared at her.
If you have nothing else to do, why don't you get up and make coffee? Don't think about slacking off. You just have a cold and a fever. The doctor gave you medicine to let you sleep so that you can recover easily. Don't let your imagination run wild all day. Come on, get going.
Logan had a certain heaviness in his tone as he said this to her. I didn't say anything. Violet defended herself as she quickly got to work.
You didn't say anything. Then what are you doing in bed? Quickly get up and clean my bed. Wash it up and change the bed sheets. You're sweating so much. It stinks.
Logan exclaimed. What kind of man is he? Why is he talking to me like that? Violet was so angry that she did not have the time to argue. She rolled up from the bed and angrily tidied the bed. Did I really just catch a cold? Violet was still a little worried. Logan rolled his eyes at her and sat on the sofa coldly to read the documents.
What else?
I see. That's good. Violet covered her face guiltily. She blushed because of Logan's words. She quickly tidied her clothes while Logan was looking away. She tidied up the bed and stuffed the sheets in the laundry basket in the room. When she changed the sheets, she washed her hands again and again. She had no choice. Her hands were sweaty and were smelling bad too. She was just too nervous now. The boss had mysophobia, so she had to be careful. She was afraid of dirtying the sheets and making Logan angry again. After she finished doing these things, she still had to make coffee for Logan and do some other work too. Violet looked at herself in the mirror. It looked like she had lost a little bit of weight after she began working there. When she changed the bed sheets, she felt like her waist was going to break. She felt too weak and decided to weigh herself once she got home to see if she had lost weight again. She now had children, so she wasn't as worried about her weight as she once used to be. The key was to be strong. Noah and Haley always tried to feed her more so that she became stronger. Finally, the awkward morning was about to be over. Violet called Haley to ask her about the children. She knew that Noah was at home accompanying them. She quickly asked Logan if she could leave and said that she wanted to go back to make the children something to eat. She told him that she would head straight back here as soon as she was done. Is Noah there too? He asked. Didn't this person need to go to work? Didn't he know how much the office has been busy recently? He had been helping Violet take care of the children all day long. Could it be that he had taken a fancy to Violet? His mind was going places. He thought about all the possibilities as he stared at Violet. He remembered how he was staring at Violet the day before and shook himself mentally. He then asked Violet to wait for a while and called the driver to take her back. "No need, sir. The car I called will be here soon," Violet told him. Logan was being unusually nice at this point. "That's not convenient. You guys still have to go to eat later. You can't rely on Noah for everything. He also needs to go back to his office to work. I have invested in him. I want to benefit from it," Logan responded. Violet did not say anything after Logan said that. Rich people always had the best interests. If she had invested in her old classmates and old friends, she would clearly ask for returns. However, a small part of her suspected that maybe he asked the driver to take her because he wanted her to take care of the children earlier. Episode 52. An Encounter with the Past. She thought of that rainy night, the stack of cash being thrown at her in the cold wind, and the car that had sped away. It was all like an instant flashback playing before her eyes. She glared at Logan unhappily. She thought Logan was complaining about Noah and that he didn't like the two of them getting too close. "If you think your work keeps you too occupied and you can't take care of your children the way you want to, you can get them to work with you occasionally," Logan told her. Her eyes instantly lit up, too happy at the thought of what she had heard. "Really?" Violet was pleasantly surprised. Smith Group was a big company. She had never thought of getting such benefits here. Plus, she was a very new employee. Getting such opportunities was indeed huge for her. No one was allowed to bring their children to work, and she knew that very well. "As long as it doesn't affect your work. I know you won't be bringing them to work every day anyway. I'm just talking about those days when you really have to stay with them. You can't always ask Noah to take care of them. He also has work, and I know it's not convenient," he explained. Violet realized that he wasn't being kind to her or trying to make things easy for her. He just wanted Noah to be able to work so it could benefit him. Violet heaved a sigh as she thought about Logan and how he was so self-serving. "Got it. I will," she answered in a muffled voice. Logan thought that she had not recovered from the cold and was not in the mood, so he asked her if she wanted to rest for a day. "You still don't look too well to me. I don't want you to give me the cold too," he sneered, his expression full of disgust. Violet couldn't help but feel upset and angry at the way he was behaving. He was indeed a wicked capitalist. He did not care about the hardships of his employees at all. He just wanted to earn money. Her impression of Logan had just changed a few days ago, but it now returned with full force. She had chosen not to rest and had not left him. She had stayed there just so she could take care of him, and this was what he had to say? "What's wrong with you now?" he asked, with a frown on his face. Her expression perplexed him. What nonsense was she thinking about again? "Don't worry about me. I'm doing very good." She pouted in disappointment and muttered something. Logan ignored her. When the driver arrived, he told her to hurry back and asked her to settle the matter before bringing the twins into the hospital to see him. "I'll get someone to buy some cake. When they are hungry, they can eat some snacks," he muttered with a smile on his face. Violet bit her lower lip and said, "Thank you." No matter what, when Logan showed any kind of care or concern for her kids, she found it touching. The twins had very few people who cared about their well-being. Something occurred to Violet then, and she thought that there was no better time than now to ask him about it. If the Kingston family wants to take Adam and Amy back, sir, will you help me? I want my children to stay with only me. I don't trust any one of them one bit, and you know that," Violet exclaimed. If the three of them returned to the Kingston family, it would be disastrous. But if the Kingston family insisted on taking the children back, she was afraid that not only would she not be able to stop them, but it would also affect Noah and Haley. The Kingston family was very powerful at this point. "It depends on your performance," Logan answered. To Logan, this was just a matter of a few words. He just wanted to play with Violet. He liked teasing and testing her. However, Violet took him seriously. "Then, I must work hard," she responded, instantly becoming alert. Logan could not help but smile at the way her eyes lit up. "Now, go quickly. Don't waste time," he exclaimed. He had a vague desire in his heart, a desire that had nothing to do with work. This desire was waiting for a suitable opportunity to break out of his shell. He waved at Violet and watched her fly out of the ward like a happy bird. He couldn't help but lean against the headboard and look at her. He closed his laptop, closed his eyes, and recalled his memories. There was only one thing that he saw. If his grandmother knew what he was thinking right now, she probably wouldn't let Violet stay in the Smith group anymore. Logan helplessly smiled. He planned to hide what he was thinking and feeling. He didn't want anyone to know at this point. Violet met Chloe at the hospital entrance and was very surprised. When Chloe saw her, she was stunned but quickly recovered. She stopped Violet, who was running out, and wanted to talk to her. "Sorry, I am not free at the moment. The driver is waiting for me, and I have to go." Violet looked at her watch. Noah had to get to work, so she had to get home in 20 minutes. She could not waste any time, but why would Chloe come to the hospital? "You are already using Logan's private car?" Chloe's face was full of ridicule, and her tone became sharper. "Lionel, thank the heavens you broke up with her. Otherwise, she would have been using you this way, too. Just look at her." Violet looked at the man who was walking toward her. He still had the same face as before. However, when the sunlight shone on him, it no longer made her feel the way it used to. Instead, she felt cold and empty when she looked at him. He didn't seem like the same person anymore. In the past, his eyes had already trampled her heart and dignity. Violet's lips trembled slightly. She did not want to stare at Lionel, but her body seemed to have its own desire. She could not look away. Instead, she stared straight at him, and he stared back at her. The two of them looked at each other as if they had a lot to say to each other. It was just that the meaning in Violet's eyes was completely different from his. Lionel walked in front of her and smiled. "Violet, you are back." His voice was low and pleasant to listen to. He gently called Violet's name, which made Chloe very unhappy. "Why are you calling her name like that?"
Don't you know her? She'll think you still care about her, Chloe retorted. Lionel looked at Chloe helplessly. Chloe took the opportunity to act coquettishly and lean forward to hold his arm. Even if it was a high-end private hospital, there were still numerous people coming and going through the doors. People who were worried about their friends and loved ones. Violet felt that the three of them were standing at the door and talking about such things as silly, so she smiled and said, "I have to leave now. Also, I am already the mother of 2 children, and I'm not interested in your fiancé. Not everyone is after Lionel, you know." During her 2 years in the Hall group, she had also learned a lot of techniques to mock others. "Violet!" Chloe was so angry that she wanted to hit someone, but was stopped by Lionel.
"This is a hospital. Don't forget that we still have other things to do,"
he reminded her. Chloe huffed and chose to take out her frustration on the people nearby. While Chloe was busy scolding people, Lionel greedily stared at Violet. It had been 4 years, and she was still as amorous as before. If he did everything well and all his plans succeeded, would the situation between him and Violet be completely different from what it is now? He only needed a little more time. "Don't shout so loudly. It doesn't matter to me, but the Kingston family has a reputation. Lionel, please take care of your woman. Don't let her go crazy and make a fool of herself," Violet muttered.
"Violet, do visit the Kingston family. They really miss you a lot."
Lionel spoke as he pinched Chloe's wrist and gave her a look. Chloe understood and coldly snorted. "Lionel and I already have a child, so I have absolutely no issues if you wish to return. Just learn how to be a little more grateful to those doing you a favor," Chloe added. Lionel smiled dotingly. You have a child now?" Violet asked. She was a little at a loss. She did not know if it was because she could not accept it or because she felt that their child had come too late. She was confused. Episode 53. A Fresh Scandal. When Violet was forced to leave the country, she thought Chloe and Lionel were already married. She did not expect them to have been childless until now.
"We haven't held a wedding yet. We will definitely invite you to attend it if it ever happens."
Lionel spoke then. It was almost as if he had read her mind. He seemed to be implying something, but Chloe did not hear him. She looked embarrassed. It was not good to get pregnant before marriage, but then she thought about Violet and how she had 2 children without getting married. In fact, no one even knew who their father was. The thought immediately comforted her, and she felt better about herself. Lionel is right. When the time comes, you must attend. But you obviously can't be my bridesmaid anymore. Chloe chuckled. Then I'll wait and see. Let's see when Lionel finally decides to marry you. Violet smiled charmingly at Lionel. She did not care how Lionel would react. She mainly wanted to anger Chloe. She turned around and ran towards the black Maybach that was parked outside. It was the company car that only Corey and Logan used. That was why Chloe recognized it at first glance. "Stop right there!" Chloe shouted. She was very angry. "Lionel, look at her!" However, Lionel didn't pay any attention to her.
"Let's go in. We have an appointment with a doctor."
Lionel held her wrist and pulled her inside.
As they went inside, Chloe finally remembered that, according to her mother's plan, Violet should be in a very miserable state right now. She should have been fired by the Smith Group. Why was she still using Logan's car? Moreover, there was no sign of fear on her face either. What was happening? It left Chloe wondering about what was going on. Upon hearing what she had told Violet, she had expected Violet to be very upset, but she was surprised to see that she wasn't. In fact, she was so arrogant. Chloe decided that she would call her mother and ask her right after the doctor's visit. She was confident that her mother's plan wouldn't fail like that. Chloe only cared about the calculations in her heart and did not notice Lionel's deep eyes. From the moment he had met Violet, his eyes had become even deeper and colder. It was as if he was thinking of something. Chloe looked at him, rather confused at the whole situation, not understanding what she should do. Meanwhile, Violet got into the car. "Let's go," she instructed the driver. Violet turned around and saw that Lionel was coaxing Chloe. She smiled sarcastically. Once upon a time, this man loved her. He took care of her like a little girl. Violet thought he was there to stay in her life for good. He always took care of her. But he had changed. He was an entirely different person now, and Violet could evidently see it. Violet decisively turned her head and did not look at him anymore. The past was unbearable to look back on. It had been 4 years, and it was time for her to truly say goodbye. That time was over. She now had her children to focus on, and she knew it. The driver took Violet to Haley's home. He did not leave until Violet went up. Haley lived in a high-end apartment. The owner of the apartment had seen Logan before. When he saw Logan's car parked in front of his apartment, he stood there, gazing at what was happening. Someone took a photo of the car and the number plate and posted it online. He asked if it was Logan's car. People started commenting on the post instantly, and soon there were many replies. Someone also joked that the person who took the photo was a rich man who lived in the same neighborhood as Logan. "We don't live in the same neighborhood. His car is parked at the entrance of our neighborhood, but there is only a driver in the car. There is a story," the person replied to that comment. "The driver is here, but there is no sign of Director Logan here. Did Logan go on a date?" Speculation started rolling in. People wondered if Logan had a lover living in this neighborhood. The internet was filled with heated rumors about Logan and Elizabeth. Not long ago, he had a beautiful secretary. It had only been a few days. Why did he have a new woman? The questions only kept going. Logan was the dream lover of every woman in Los Angeles. He had so many women. This was really infuriating. The netizens continued commenting. "His relationship with that secretary is not an ordinary one. Could this be the residence of the secretary?" One netizen commented, "No way. Someone checked that the secretary had just returned to the country. Furthermore, she is from the Kingston family, and she also ran away from home a few years ago. It isn't possible for her to live in that neighborhood. There must be someone else there." They kept discussing, giving their viewpoints. It made Logan even more popular. Logan himself wasn't one to go online and check what was happening, but his popularity was only increasing with time. Because of the click rate, the number of discussions increased. Since the dinner, the share price of the Smith Group had increased by 1.5%. Logan was now even more famous. He was even more popular than some celebrities on the internet, so there were more people paying attention to him. As the discussions grew, the scandal between Elizabeth and Logan was also dug up, and it became more and more intense. Except for Logan, who did not seem to care about the accident, everyone else was discussing excitedly. After all, it was a story between a beautiful actress and a rich man. It had people discussing and giving their opinions on it. Someone pointed out that the car that Logan often used was never seen outside Elizabeth's studio, nor was Elizabeth ever seen inside it. But this time, it was parked at the entrance of an unfamiliar neighborhood. This made people even more curious. Everyone was guessing whether Elizabeth and Logan were still dating or if they had broken up. When Miranda heard about all of this, she wasn't as bothered about it. While her thoughts were racing, she had already thought about all the possible options. Miranda naturally did not feel that there was anything strange about this. Logan might had ordered the chauffeur to take Violet home. If she played her cards right, she could easily shift the blame on Violet. She was waiting for this opportunity. As for the rumors about the relationship between Elizabeth and Logan on the internet, she felt that it was not a bad thing for Elizabeth. She might as well take this opportunity to announce her identity and then verify the relationship between her and Logan. After all, as a beautiful girl from the Kingston family and a very successful actress, Elizabeth was definitely more qualified to be Logan's lover than anyone else for that matter. When that time would come, Logan's fans would brag about it everywhere and spread the news everywhere, and the Alexander family would have to accept it as true. If Logan did not give in, he would be a real scumbag. The Alexander family would never do anything so shameful. She knew them too well and was aware of how they were. She especially knew how Logan's grandmother was. Miranda smiled complacently and let Elizabeth prepare herself. She wanted Elizabeth to become a part of the Alexander family, and she tried all that she could to make sure that would be true one day. After all, the filming business was not something that she wanted to do forever. Furthermore, she could continue filming after announcing her marriage and giving birth. "Mommy, you seem to be very happy today," Elizabeth remarked. She was under a lot of pressure. She knew that Violet had a friend called Haley, and she seemed to live in that neighborhood. Logan's car was parked there. Was he going to find Haley or Violet? Logan was in the hospital. What was happening? She wanted to ask Miranda, but she was afraid of being scolded, so she did not ask. She waited to find out herself. "Of course, I am happy. You just watch what is about to happen. Violet is going to be chased out of the Smith group soon." She did not believe that Grandma would let Violet stay in the Smith group after she saw her seducing Logan. "Really?" Elizabeth suddenly stood up from the sofa. This was the only good news she had gotten recently. "Mom, how did you do it?" she asked with a wide grin on her face. Episode 54. Take him over. Miranda assured Elizabeth that Violet would be chased out by the Smith group soon. "Really?" Elizabeth suddenly stood up from the sofa. This was the only good news she had gotten recently. "Mom, how did you do it?" she asked with a wide grin on her face.
That isn't something that you should be worried about. You only have to seduce Logan with your charm. As a woman, you should know exactly how to do this. You need to have him under your control. Use your beauty for it. Miranda exclaimed. Elizabeth knew what her mother meant. Unfortunately, Logan didn't want to touch her. What would she do? She thought despondently. Miranda was a little disappointed by Elizabeth's behavior, but there was not much that she could do about it. She could only instruct her, and that's exactly what she was doing. The rest was up to Elizabeth. Creating opportunities was the most important thing. If she hadn't been able to do it earlier, she needed to keep trying. Women could easily lure men. All they had to do was flaunt their charm, and the job was done. She believed that Elizabeth would definitely get Logan's love. If she hadn't yet been able to do it, it was because his grandmother didn't agree. If Elizabeth could bear Logan's child, then nothing would stand in her way. She wouldn't have to do much after that. It would automatically draw him towards her. As she thought about it, Miranda remembered something. Oh, right. The last time I asked those people to take photos. It is time to release them now. The matter between you and Logan cannot be delayed anymore, she exclaimed. All right, I got it, Mommy. Don't worry. I will definitely succeed this time. I am hopeful that I will. Elizabeth responded. Since Violet was about to be kicked out of the Smith group, this plan would probably work out very well. Thus, she got her assistant to call the reporters she had contacted and let them act according to her plan. The assistant asked her when she was going to meet Philly. Let's wait a few more days. Elizabeth was afraid that it would be useless even if she saw Philly. She was still a little afraid of Logan. She was afraid that he would find out and then he wouldn't spare her. You still want to wait. Don't blame me for not reminding you. Aren't you afraid about what can happen? Elizabeth remembered what Miranda had said earlier. Miranda had asked her to coax Logan so he could not leave her. Elizabeth smiled bitterly. She would probably have to go look for Philly and could not delay it any longer. The assistant flipped her phone. I know Haley. She is very good looking. A rather charming girl, I must say. You know Garrett, right? I know. He is the director of the Laurie Group. Elizabeth replied. That man seemed to be interested in her. He always teased her with his words. Elizabeth was confident that if she needed help, she might be able to ask Garrett for help. The director of the Laurie Group is very powerful. Haley is one of his subordinates. The assistant passed on the information that she had found out about Haley to Elizabeth. What does this have to do with me? She eagerly asked. Logan's car is parked near her home. You're not worried about that at all? The assistant lowered her voice. I am not afraid at all. There are many such women on the street. Logan has great taste. I am sure he doesn't have any interest in them. Elizabeth did not think highly of Haley. Although Haley was beautiful and astute, she was definitely not the type that Logan liked. If Logan's car was parked under Haley's house, it would definitely be because of Violet. It could also be a work thing.
Elizabeth was trying to rationalize and come up with plausible reasons because she was very sure that Logan wouldn't be interested in Haley at all. As it is, Violet was being kicked out of the Smith group within a few days. She would not be able to survive in Los Angeles then. Then she would come back to the Kingston family, asking them for their help. Elizabeth was very confident about it all, but the assistant wasn't convinced. She had always seen Elizabeth go out of the way for Logan, but her efforts were never reciprocated. She always felt that Logan and Elizabeth did not have a real relationship. Although Logan treated Elizabeth very well, she felt that something was not right. I have also told Philly, the assistant added. All right, I will go and find Philly. About the other matters, I don't want to hear a thing. Elizabeth covered her ears to express the same. Her assistant was merely patient and waited for Elizabeth to change her mind, as she knew she would. Elizabeth trusted her assistant quite a bit. In the end, she finally decided to reluctantly give her assistant some face and make an appointment with the legendary Philly in a few days. Only then did the assistant feel satisfied. She asked the makeup artist to come over and fix Elizabeth's makeup. She had some shoots that she had to go do. Meanwhile, when Violet came home, the two children were painting, and Noah was by their side, accompanying them. When he saw her enter, he asked her if she had eaten lunch. If you don't come back, I'm going to take them to eat with everyone else, Noah added. How can that be? Don't you have work to do? Violet added. It doesn't matter. For now, I just want to meet Garrett, director of Lori Group, and Haley's boss. He said that there is a case that he wants us to handle. Noah answered. We know each other from before. As Violet said this, Noah knew that Violet had something brewing up in her head that needed immediate attention. She remembered what Logan had said about Adam and Amy being taken by Anna to film an advertisement. It seemed like the company that produced advertisements was the Lori Group Corporation. So Amy and Adam would also know Garrett. Noah had said before that this Garrett wasn't the naive person that he seemed to be. He was actually a businessman. Would this make Logan unhappy? She wondered. I also want to talk about Adam and Amy with you guys. How did you guys even make this huge decision without letting me know? She asked. Let's not talk about this right now. What's done is done. Anyway, they have already signed the contract. They will definitely finish filming this time. It will not even help if you scold them now. Noah added. You only know how to protect them. Violet smiled helplessly. Of course. As their godfather, I naturally have to protect them. Right, sweetheart? Noah looked at Amy as he said this to Violet. Right. Uncle Noah is the best. Amy replied. Our Amy is the sweetest ever. Just a while ago, who was talking about going to see Logan? Noah asked. It was almost as if Logan had taken over their hearts. Logan is also very good. Noah jokingly added, and the twins nodded. This wasn't something as big. It was just a contract dispute between the company and the artists. Noah felt that it wouldn't affect Logan at all. Then you guys can go alone. Noah gestured at Haley and Violet.
I will find a place to eat with the twins. After that, I will take them to see Logan, too." Noah exclaimed. Violet shook her head and said she had to go back to Logan. "What does Logan want you to do? You just took a break. Why are you in such a hurry to go back?" Noah frowned. "You ask them. They are always arguing about going to see him. I'll take them to meet him today." Violet was adamant. Noah and Haley had been talking about the children's father and that they should know about him, but they dared not to talk about it in front of Violet. They knew how she would react. First, they were afraid that Violet would be sad. Second, they were also afraid that the twins would be scolded. Everyone held on to this secret and waited carefully, waiting for Violet to reveal it one day. Everyone was going to be scolded together if they dared to even bring the topic up. Noah and the twins secretly made a funny face and laughed in tacit understanding. Once the laughter died down, Adam asked his mother if she was fine. He was concerned about his mommy and whether she was doing well. Violet told them that she was not tired. It was the truth. When she saw her children, no matter how much pain she felt, it did not matter. With them around, everything seemed like a blessing to her. Noah helped the two little babies dress up. Violet cleaned up the house and threw the dirty clothes into the washing machine. She changed her clothes and came out. She was so hungry that she quickly brought the two children out and unexpectedly found that Logan's car was still downstairs. She ran over to ask what was going on. "Violet, director said that he wanted me to follow you today." The driver smiled gently. Episode 55. A Proposition. The driver had been waiting downstairs for Violet for almost half an hour. Logan had told him that his job was to tell him when Violet would come out and where she would go after she came out. So he was doing just that. "This is against the rules. This car is too high profile," Violet remarked. She knew that the license plate number of this car was too high profile, just by the looks of it. Everyone knew that this was Logan's car. "This is the director's order," the driver responded. "Please, don't make things difficult for me, ma'am," the driver said bitterly. They were all employees and had to obey their boss. Violet nodded in understanding. She would not make things difficult for him. She ran back to tell Noah about it. "Of course, you need to take his car. At least he has some conscience. He knows you have to go to work. He's clearly being a good boss and taking care of all that you need. You should surely listen to him. How about this? I'll drive by myself. You, Adam, and Amy, you can come in Logan's car. Don't make things difficult for the driver," Noah explained. "Can't we take Uncle Noah's car?" the two children asked. "That's Uncle Logan's car. Didn't you guys keep arguing about going to see him? He sent you guys a driver today to make it convenient for you guys to go out. Now, isn't that very considerate?" Violet explained. She knew how much the kids loved Logan. "Yeah, but can we still just go in Uncle Noah's car?" Amy asked as her gaze kept drifting towards the car. Of course, they wanted to take Uncle Logan's car, but they wanted Noah to be there too. "Mommy, when Uncle Logan recovers,
Can we treat him to dinner with us?
Amy's eyes lit up. It seemed like she really liked Logan. Noah wondered. On the contrary, Adam was calmer, which made him feel better. Really now? Okay, I'm jealous. How long have you guys known Uncle Logan? And you want to treat him to a meal? Oh, so all of a sudden, you guys don't love me like that anymore? Noah was joking with them, and he had a slight smile on his face as he said this. Adam immediately said,
"No, Uncle Noah, you're the best."
Noah was very happy. He held Adam in his arms and did not want to let him go. If Violet had not insisted, he would have taken the twins to work because they were just too cute. Although they did not take a car, Noah still asked the driver to take Violet and her son to the busiest commercial street. He had an appointment there with Garrett. He heard that there was a very good restaurant. Although it was a little expensive, the food was really great. He really wanted the two kids to have something nice and to spend some quality time with their mother. He made a reservation in advance after getting in the car. He did not want Violet to be distracted by Adam and Amy later, so he had done the needful. All they had to do was get there and eat. Haley happened to call him and asked him about the meeting with Garrett. She knew that Violet had taken the children out to eat and wanted to join them. Noah told her the address and then focused on driving. After about 20 minutes, they arrived. Violet invited the driver to eat with them. The driver politely refused, and he said that he had his lunchbox in the car and was going to eat there only. Garrett arrived at this time. His car and Haley's car stopped at the restaurant, one in front and one behind. Although it was a commercial street, there were not many pedestrians because it was full of high-end shops. It was relatively quiet. Violet quite liked this kind of quiet atmosphere, and when she saw Haley coming, she smiled at her and waited for her. The two women pulled the children along and walked while they laughed and chatted. Noah and Garrett also greeted Violet and followed them inside. Garrett invited Violet to eat with them. Coincidentally, the two restaurants were on the same floor. Noah withdrew the reservation he had made and chatted with Violet about the house while they placed their orders. "Oh, did you forget that our family does real estate?" Garrett asked Noah. The Laurie group and the Smith group were the same. They were involved in many different lines of business. Real estate was also within their scope of business. "I know. Why'd you ask?" Noah inquired. "I have too many unoccupied houses here. I will give you one to live in first." Garrett looked at Violet with a smile and even teased Amy as he spoke. "That is not possible, Director Garrett. I can't accept such a huge favor." Violet exclaimed as she waved her hand. Garrett and Logan were not good friends. She was Logan's secretary. Violet still had to work at the Smith Group. The last thing that she wanted to do was to make Logan upset, so she simply turned down Garrett's offer. She knew what she was doing. Logan was being so considerate to her. She also had to reciprocate and make sure that she listened to him. "What? Are you afraid that Logan will be angry?" Garrett questioned. He was a smart person. Of course, he could see Violet's concerns. Violet smiled at him. It seemed that everyone knew that she needed a job in the Smith Group and knew that she was afraid of being fired by Logan.
Also, perhaps everyone knew about Logan's temper, too. He wasn't an easy nut to crack. No one ever wanted to disappoint him, especially not Violet. And so she did what she thought was the right thing to do at that moment. That's not what I meant. Even if he was fine with it, I could not accept it. In Los Angeles, the rent is sky high, especially for such great quality houses. There is no way I'm going to take advantage of you like that. Please, try and understand. She responded.
What does that have to do with anything?
Garrett scoffed.
Those houses are also empty. Besides, they are all my private property. You can help me manage my house if you want to live in it. Haley goes there often. We are all acquaintances. Let's just help each other out and work collectively. This works in everyone's favor, right?
He insisted. He was still trying to convince Violet to change her mind. Are we acquaintances? Violet wondered. Violet opened her mouth and wanted to ask Adam and Amy's opinion. They did not seem to be very satisfied and looked at Haley reluctantly. We still want to live with Aunt Haley. We love her a lot, they added with a very cute look on their faces. I love you guys too. Haley hugged Amy as she said this. She did not really want Violet to move out because she was also very attached to the two children. If Violet could continue to live with her, she would help her take care of her children. No matter what came Violet's way, Haley could always help her out with it. She was the one who gave Violet the idea of working in the Smith Group in the first place too. Of course, she had to help her think of a plan.
You can think about it. Take your time. There's no rush. Anyway, you have to wait for Logan to be discharged from the hospital before you can implement any of your plans.
Noah added. His words made sense. Violet had a lot to take care of while Logan was at the hospital.
You guys care too much about what he thinks.
Garrett shook his head and did not continue. Noah and the others did not ask any more. Garrett clearly had his reservations here. He didn't think Violet should be the only one taking care of Logan in the hospital. He knew how cold-hearted the Alexander family was, and how harsh they were to Violet as well. If it weren't for Director Logan, Adam and Amy would have been in danger. I respect him a lot for what he has done for my children, Violet added. When they were alone, Violet often quarreled with Logan. When she was angry, she wanted to punch Logan. However, when anyone had anything negative to say about Logan, she didn't like it. She felt like people had a very negative image of him, but he was actually a good person. She realized she had actually gotten offended by Garrett's remark, and it left her feeling confused. Her tone had still been soft. Her voice was gentle and sweet. Noah and Haley didn't pay her any attention. They were used to hearing things like this. Only Garrett pricked up his ears and listened attentively. He looked at Violet with a thoughtful look, as if he was thinking about something. Episode 56. Why the good mood? Violet was on her best behavior at this time. Although she did not agree with what Garrett said, she didn't lose her temper. She respectfully told him what she thought, and did what the best thing to do was. After all, Garrett was Noah's client. He was just trying to help her out. She also knew it was impossible to live with Haley like that indefinitely. They really had to find a house and move out. She didn't want to be a liability for Haley for a very long time. With Violet and the children there, Noah and Haley never got any private time to themselves. It was not good for their relationship to develop. So, Violet thought it was best if she moved out with the children.
You're very sensible. I will definitely let Anna talk more about her brother and be more forgiving towards him,
Garrett remarked. Thank you, sir. Violet smiled shyly. Anna is Logan's younger sister. Garrett, aren't you Director Logan's younger brother? Why don't you talk to him yourself? Haley jokingly asked.
My brother doesn't seem to like me very much, and I think it is quite evident, too. I try not to appear in front of him too much. I don't want to make him angry.
Garrett's smile was a little bitter and strained as he said this. Everyone became awkward at his comment. The relationships within these wealthy families were messed up, and Violet could see that. It would not be good if they accidentally exposed each other. Noah quickly changed the topic and started talking about work. After their meal, Violet took Adam and Amy to the shopping mall to buy some things. Before leaving, Garrett mentioned the house and asked her not to care about what Logan would think.
This is a private matter. Just think about it, without any other factors affecting your decision,
Garrett told her in an attempt to convince her again. I know, Director Garrett. I will think about it. Violet smiled and nodded. It was not good to offend people. Noah and Haley had things to do in their afternoon, so she took the car and left. She also packed a meal for the driver. When she took the children for some shopping, he could eat something in the car. Mom, I don't want to live in Uncle Garrett's house. Amy pouted. And why is that? Don't you like Uncle Garrett? Violet asked, curiously. Uncle Garrett. The house. The driver immediately perked up his ears. The director had told him to quietly follow Violet, but he had his ears and eyes open. He was dedicated to his job, so he didn't say anything. I like it, but I still don't want to live in his house, Amy added. Is there a reason? Violet laughed. Why were these two children so sensitive? Although they seemed to be very polite to everyone and always acted like spoiled children, they had a strong sense of boundaries. It could be seen that, although they liked Garrett, they were not as friendly with him as they were with Logan. Logan clearly had a very special place in their heart. Adam expressed that his thoughts were the same as Amy's. Violet wanted her children to be happy, so taking their opinion was very important to her. Violet nodded. Only then did the kids become happy, and they quickly went to see Logan.
Director Logan's painstaking efforts finally did not go to waste. These two children really care about him.
The driver was very happy as he thought about that. Violet still took the twins to the shopping mall. Most of their clothes had not been shipped from overseas yet, and the weather was getting colder. She could not let the children stay in their summer clothes, so she went to the mall to buy them something that was weather appropriate. Violet did not notice that she and the two children attracted a lot of attention when they were in the shopping mall. When they were buying clothes, they used the shopping vouchers from Smith Group. A lot of people turned their heads to look at the children. They were just too cute to ignore. Although Violet was Logan's personal secretary, it was customary for her to use these shopping vouchers, but people were always willing to believe what they wanted to believe. Violet finished shopping and chose the delivery service in the shopping mall. She filled out the address and brought the two children out of the shopping mall's main door. The rumors about her special relationship with Logan had already spread like wildfire. Logan also received the news. At the same time, the driver also reported what Violet and the kids said in the car about Logan.
The house.
Logan pondered. Garrett was getting bolder and bolder. He actually dared to propose ideas to his employees. This was going too far. He had to do something about it. Logan was very annoyed. Just like Corey, those who followed him were his people. He had to protect them. Furthermore, Violet was his secretary. If Garrett wanted to know more about Logan and the Smith Group, it would be a good idea to get close to Violet. He noticed how Garrett was getting sharper and using his people. He actually wanted to provide a place for Violet. This made Logan very uneasy. He could not let Garrett succeed, nor could he let Noah get too close to Violet. It seemed that he had to step in for this matter. He was the boss. No matter what he said, Violet could only listen to him unless she did not want to work for him anymore. Logan smirked at the thought. He had already asked people to get some cake and tea for the two babies. He also bought a lot of small gifts and put them in the ward. He was just waiting for Adam and Amy to come over. He did not have the energy to work anymore. Whilst he was at it, he even signed the wrong document. Fortunately, Corey was alert and discovered it. Otherwise, he would have lost tens of millions in minutes.
Director, what's wrong with you today? If you are not feeling well, you should rest. You can just do all of this tomorrow. For now, your health is the top priority.
Corey was just being polite. He also wanted to hear some gossip. Who knew that Logan would not fall for it?
All right, then let's do it tomorrow.
He turned off the computer and immediately decided to stop working and have a good rest. He was the boss, but sometimes he did listen to what his employees said. He asked the nanny to clean up the first floor of the villa. Then he closed his eyes to rest.
How strange.
Corey closed the chat window and muttered with a frown.
What's wrong?
Drake asked as he refilled his cup of tea and took out the signed documents to send to the heads of various departments.
Something's wrong with the director recently. He doesn't seem to be as active as he used to be.
Corey replied. In the past, he worked overtime with all his might, and there were many complaints from other people. Ever since he had gotten hospitalized, everyone in the company had been living a godly life. No one has much on their plates. Most of the time, they were just free.
Maybe he's in a good mood recently,
Drake suggested. The company's share prices had risen. That was something that would make their boss the happiest, and the employees knew that very well.
He's still in a good mood after getting injured?
Corey asked sarcastically. He looked at Drake as if he was looking at a fool.
That's true. Maybe there is something else to be happy about.
Drake pondered. Was it Violet? Was it Elizabeth? What was it? They could all sense that the relationship that Logan had with Violet wasn't an ordinary one. Could it be that the director had changed? Why do you ask? Corey was puzzled. Why was this child being a gossip? Look at this. Drake held out his phone, and Corey leaned in to take a look. On the screen, he saw Logan and Elizabeth. They were speaking to each other intimately. The two of them were very close, and it felt like their ears were rubbing together. Anyone who saw them would think that they were madly in love with each other. Could it be because he has been so close to Elizabeth these days that he was in a good mood recently? Drake wondered. He was thinking of all the possible reasons, and this seemed to be the most believable out of them all. Corey sneered. If it was really because of this, Logan probably wouldn't be in a good mood. He might even be furious. The two of them continued to talk and brainstormed some more on why Logan was feeling so restless and happy. Episode 57. A New Arrangement. Corey slowly stood up with a slight smile on his face. However, his eyes were cold. You'd better pray that he doesn't see this. Otherwise, you'll have to work overtime every day for the next month until midnight. He warned Drake. He closed his laptop, put on his jacket, and left. He had to be prepared to deal with the pictures online. Violet rushed to the hospital with her children. The two children had been pestering her the whole time to take them to the hospital to see Logan. She had not realized that shopping would take so much time. Adam and Amy were very obedient, but taking care of them still took a lot of her time and energy. In addition, she had just caught a cold and had a fever, so Violet clearly felt tired. Her physical strength also did not seem to be comparable to before. After giving birth to the two children, she felt that her energy stores had been drained. When she reached the hospital, Violet's head and face were covered in sweat, even though it was late autumn. When they entered the ward, Adam and Amy saw Logan sitting on the sofa. They immediately ran over. Logan's smile deepened, and Violet was almost stunned to see him so happy to meet them like that. But what surprised her the most was Adam and Amy's behavior. They actually threw themselves into Logan's arms. Other than Noah and Haley, they had never been so close to anyone else. Was Logan good with children? Why did they behave like that in front of him? It was very confusing. Uncle Logan, I missed you so much, Amy shrieked. Violet's face was a little red. This child did not treat Logan as someone she had only recently met. It was almost as if she had known him for ages and loved him. She had just said that Amy was the best in front of Noah, but now in front of Logan, she was entirely different. It looked like she loved no one more than him. Amy, be still. Don't touch Uncle Logan's wound, Violet exclaimed as she quickly pulled Amy away. She blushed and asked Logan if Amy was disturbing him. No, they are quite cute. Logan responded as he stroked the two little babies' noses. Luckily, it was a boy and a girl. If their genders were the same, it would be really hard to distinguish them. They looked so alike. In fact, Logan also looked very similar to Adam and Amy. The only difference was that Amy was a little chubbier. This was probably fate. Otherwise, it was really hard to explain why Logan, who always had a cold face, would smile at these two little fellows like a spring breeze. Even Violet's mood became better when she saw all of this happening. This wasn't the Logan she knew. She took a deep breath. She finally did not have to worry that the children would annoy Logan. The three of them got along very well. Adam and Amy completely forgot about Violet's existence. They surrounded Logan. Adam was more careful. He carefully touched Logan's wound and asked if it was still very painful.
Nope, it doesn't hurt now. If you keep coming to see me like this, then it will stop hurting completely.
Logan replied as he held Adam's small hand with his big hand. He asked him about school and what the teachers were teaching him. The two started to make small talk. You really don't feel pain anymore? Amy opened her eyes wide with curiosity. Could it be that as long as they came to see him, Uncle Logan would recover? He really did love these two quite a lot. Mommy, can we come and see Uncle Logan again tomorrow? Amy asked. She wanted an excuse to skip school, too. It would be a win-win for her. Tomorrow? Violet felt that it was not good for the children to stay in the hospital all the time. Besides, more people would mean that there was more noise and that Logan wouldn't get rest. She wanted to refuse, but was afraid that Logan would be unhappy. She looked at Logan and felt a little awkward. Logan smiled.
You should go to school. Don't forget that you still need to film the advertisements. When I am discharged from the hospital, you can come to work with your mother, and then you can see me.
Oh, right. I didn't ask about your advertisements. Violet had just remembered that she had wanted to ask about this before, but there were so many things that were happening simultaneously. She still wasn't sure what was going on.
You don't need to worry about it. I will let Anna take full responsibility. Since the two of them have agreed and signed the contract, I'm sure it won't be that bad.
Logan explained. It was because of this that you were injured, Violet pointed out, looking at her two children reproachfully.
This had nothing to do with them. Trust me on this.
Logan insisted as he tried to do his best to convince Violet. Everything had happened so suddenly, but he had still asked Corey to investigate. He had his suspicions about the incident. It was almost like someone had deliberately planned this. However, he still didn't know what the motive of the murderer was. Did it have something to do with the Kingston family? Miranda and Elizabeth were also there that day, but they didn't see him. After that, Adam and Amy met with Danger. It was all still very strange.
If you worry, you won't be able to give your 100% to your work. Go to Corey tomorrow and ask him to arrange for people to follow up on the incident and find out what happened. I will look after them and won't let anything happen to them.
Logan told Violet. Why will you look after us, Uncle Logan? Amy asked as she ate some walnut kernels. Uncle Logan was really beautiful. It would be great if her father was also so beautiful. Her mother would definitely like him too. His face was very attractive, and everyone agreed with this. The two children were, as it is, very charmed by his looks.
I will protect you two,
Logan exclaimed. No need. I can protect my sister. Adam puffed out his chest.
Then who will protect you?
Logan asked him. The little boy was stunned, and Violet was also stunned. She often forgot that Adam was only a child. but he had already learned to help her share the burden. This child was too much sometimes. He actually forgot to reject Logan's good intentions for a moment. Logan thought he had tacitly agreed. He rubbed Adam's hair. You also don't want to affect your mother's work, right? Yes. Adam agreed. Of course, he didn't want that. Then listen to me. I will arrange everything. Is that okay? He smiled and looked at the two children. In his heart, he knew he should leave Violet and the two children alone, but he couldn't. Maybe if Violet would just tell him who the father was. Thank you so much, Director. Violet spoke just then. For some reason, Logan did not like the way she addressed him. However, he did not want her to change it either. Violet probably only called him Logan when she quarreled with him. She was a different person when she was angry. Logan did not want to admit it, but he found her cute when she was mad. Sometimes when he saw Violet glaring at him in anger and gritting her teeth, he would feel hot all over his body. It was far more tempting than anything Elizabeth ever did. The more he thought about it, the more confused he became. Logan pressed on his temple and stopped thinking. Meanwhile, Adam and Amy just looked at him gratefully. Uncle Logan was such a good person, and he was very powerful too. Adam and Amy had only known him for a short period of time, and they had a good impression of him. They loved his aura and felt that he was genuinely a very nice person. When their mother was overseas, she often left them at home and asked Noah to take care of them. It was because she was very busy with work, and if she took them to work, others would say that she was not professional. That was the last thing she wanted. She wanted to keep her image and work professionally so that she could provide for her two children, who were completely dependent on her. People around them would say that since she wanted to take care of her children, she might as well go home and be a full-time mom. Why had she taken a full-time job instead? Seeing how Uncle Logan had casually asked their mother to bring them to work had surprised them. They had not been expecting it, and it only made them like him more. Episode 58. The Sweet Meetup. Logan had made Adam and Amy very happy by telling them that they could accompany their mother to work. Thank you, Uncle Logan. They spoke in unison. They had not really expected Uncle Logan to be so good. Not only did he save them, but he was also letting Mommy take them to work. Other than Uncle Noah, no one had ever been so good to them. They had all the more reason to love him as they did. Logan saw how the two kids trusted him. He felt very happy in his heart. It made him feel even better than he did after getting a project worth millions of dollars. It was strange. He had only met these two children a few months ago. Why did they mean so much to him all of a sudden? Amy was very lovable. She was the cutest little girl that Logan had ever seen. However, Logan was more interested in Adam, who was like a young Logan. Both of them had an uncanny resemblance to each other. Amy was also very similar to him. No wonder when they were in the airport lobby, there were so many people who did not suspect Amy's relationship with him. Logan thought of what happened that day and laughed involuntarily. Violet asked him what he was laughing about, and he looked at Adam and Amy. That day. Adam and Amy immediately knew it was because of the airport lobby. If he told Violet about it, she would find out about Amy hugging Logan and calling him Daddy. No way! Even if Mommy wasn't angry, she would still feel uncomfortable. Amy looked at Logan with pleading eyes. Adam also stared at Logan, and he instantly knew what they wanted him to say. He casually said something to confuse Violet. Adam and Amy were relieved in their hearts. They felt that Uncle Logan was a good person and knew that it was really hard to find someone like that. Not only was he handsome, but he was very kind to them too. He was also very understanding. He knew what they were thinking and would listen and support them. If Uncle Logan helped them find their father, then they'd be grateful for him for the rest of their lives. Amy begged Violet to save Logan's phone number on her phone. How can this be? You will disturb Uncle Logan. Violet scolded. It would be a violation of the rules. Violet was afraid that the affection Logan had for the two children would disappear because of them pestering him so much, so she hurriedly refused. As soon as she finished speaking, the door opened. It was Logan's grandmother. She looked at him dotingly. "Hello, Grandma." Logan greeted his grandmother and asked her to sit down and eat something. Violet poured tea for her, and Logan asked her to save his number on Amy's phone. "Director, this is really not good." Violet was very troubled. She was afraid that all of this could get her fired. Her children were going overboard, and she could clearly see that. Grandmother looked at the two children attentively. When she saw that Violet was in a difficult position, she asked what was going on. Adam politely greeted her and did not say anything else. Amy, on the other hand, brought Logan a small piece of cake. "It's better for a boy to be more lively. He is a little reserved," Grandmother noted as she saw how shy and quiet Adam was. She seemed to understand people well. "It's all because I'm too busy and have too little time to spend with them. I'll be careful in the future." Violet acknowledged modestly. It did not matter if the elders criticized her a little. "It's all my fault. Adam is a great child. I'm telling you." "Yes, my brother is the best. All the teachers and children in school really like him. He's so friendly with everyone," Amy added proudly, which made Adam feel very embarrassed. He blushed, clenched his fists, and looked at Violet helplessly. His appearance reminded Grandmother of Logan's childhood. He had often carried the same stubborn look. He was silent in the crowd, but still had heads turning his way. It was almost like she had gone back in time. She observed Adam and Amy and how comfortable they were with Logan. After all, they were the children he had saved. It is normal for them to have feelings for him, she thought. It was evident how they had developed a bond with him. It was still unnerving to see these two children looking so similar to her grandson. She did not mind that they were close to him. However, she also wanted to see if Violet was actually a good person. She had already seen how Violet behaved compared to Elizabeth, but she still had her doubts. If anything was remotely related to Logan, she made sure to find out everything about it. Her grandson had never been so friendly to anyone. Even with her, he would always hold back. Why did he have such a strong interest in these two children? She looked at Adam and Amy's faces and then looked again and again. She was very surprised to find a dark red mole at the end of Adam's eyebrows. She was stunned for a moment. It was almost impossible. An overly bold and whimsical idea appeared in her mind, but she decided to leave everything to science. She fondled Adam's head lovingly and asked him if the cake was delicious. Then she smiled and watched Amy make Logan eat the cake. She could see how much Amy was enjoying the entire thing.
These two children are so cute, right, Alex?
Logan asked the butler.
Of course. They're lovely kids, and they seem to love you a lot too,
he replied with a smile on his face.
Madam, it is almost time. There is a banquet tonight that we have to attend. We have to go home,
Alex reminded grandmother.
All right. I think I have to leave then, since I have a lot to prepare to,
grandmother replied hastily.
Since you have something to do tonight, why did you come to see me? This is not good for you. You will tire yourself out like this. You should pay attention to your health.
Logan chided her. His heart ached for his grandmother. He felt that he was still not able to live up to her expectations because he always made his grandmother worry about him.
It's normal for me to worry about you. You're all I have,
she responded with a gentle smile on her face. She knew Logan didn't like her stressing out about him. She then put on a stern face and instructed Violet to take good care of Logan before following Alex out of the ward. It was probably because the incident that day had left a shadow in Grandma's heart, Logan thought. Fortunately, Grandma had not said anything about last night when she came over. Otherwise, how embarrassing would it be if Violet and she were to stare at each other in the ward for the next few days? Violet brought her attention back to the children then. Now, you listen to me. Don't casually call Uncle Logan whenever you feel like it. He is a very busy man. Violet solemnly reminded the two children. We know. Adam and Amy nodded repeatedly to reassure her. However, Logan didn't like how Violet was being so stern with them.
It doesn't matter. They are just children. Why are you being so strict with them? Do you have such high expectations for yourself?
Logan rolled his eyes at Violet.
Did you go to the mall just now?
He added. Logan clearly had a lot on his mind, and that was evident. After Corey had settled the issues about the photos online, he had also reported the scandal between Logan and Violet to Logan. He realized that the boss was not as furious as he had expected. Did he not have any doubts about Violet? They were all from the Kingston family, but the boss had a different attitude towards Violet. He had become more and more unpredictable recently, and this was something very unusual since it had never happened before. However, it also made sense. Violet already had children. She would never want herself to have this image. Speaking of which, the information the boss had asked him to find out about Violet was a little strange. According to the age of the two children, she should have been pregnant when she left the country. But until now, no one knew who the father of the children was, which raised a lot of suspicions and even led to further doubts about her character. It was not because they could not find out. It was because even Violet herself, the two children, and her friends did not mention anything about this man. Episode 59. Elizabeth versus Violet. Corey couldn't figure out why Violet refused to talk about the man who was the twins' father. Was it because she thought all men were terrible? Or did she avoid talking about the man because she wanted to forget him? Or was it because she simply didn't know who the father of these two children was? He really didn't know. It seemed that Violet's past was far more complicated than he had imagined. He had not had the time to look into the issue. He wanted to investigate the matters of the Kingston family and see what had happened to Violet when she was in the country. Perhaps he would discover something unexpected. He wanted to put the pieces of the puzzle together to find out what the matter was. Then he might have answers to all his questions. Meanwhile, Grandmother left the hospital with Alex. They went to the Rolls-Royce in the parking lot and drove to the old house. Logan was going to be discharged from the hospital, and what happened to Violet made his grandmother feel uneasy. She had also gone to see how things were faring at the Smith Group earlier. The Smith Group had been very peaceful these last few days. This kind of peace was only there because Logan had been away for a while. She had a feeling that there would be a big storm in the future, and she had to be prepared. They've taken good care of the company's matters while Logan is not there. As long as we maintain the interpersonal relationships that need to be maintained, everything will be okay. I don't want to cause any more trouble for the children. Grandmother spoke calmly. Most of the time, she was very reasonable. She held a few strands of hair in her hand and passed them to Alex. Keep this with you. When the time is right, you can send it over for identification. When Grandmother was in the ward, Alex had observed what she was doing and instantly knew what she had in her mind. He knew that she must have thought of something. She had grabbed those strands of hair and instantly left, and he had quickly followed her. "Do you think?" Alex exclaimed. He was clearly very shocked. "It's hard to say for now. Just do what I say for now. Let's look into the matter. I want to see if this woman really knows nothing, or if she's playing tricks. Of course, I can't be sure either. After all, there are indeed strangers who look exactly the same," she explained. But she was smart enough to instantly take action and get to the bottom of the issue. "Yes, I'll do as you say." Alex carefully put the hair into the silk brocade bag that he always carried with him. It often came in handy. The photos of Logan visiting Elizabeth that were circulating crazily on the internet were quickly deleted, leaving behind the video of him rescuing the twins from under the steel frame. For a moment, the audiences were enthusiastic. They all felt that Logan liked the new and hated the old. Rumors were that he was tired of playing with Elizabeth and he planned to chase after his secretary. People said all sorts of things. Otherwise, why would he save those two children? He was Logan, the one who was desired by many. They had never seen him do this for anyone. If it were me, I would also choose a secretary. What's so good about some celebrity? Can you guarantee that she will only fall in love with Logan? She has so many options to choose from. Trusting her can indeed be hard. read one comment. "You're going too far by saying that. If you say that celebrities are bad, then why do people want to be celebrities in the entertainment industry?" Another added, "That's right. You can't say that. Maybe he cheated on her while she really did love him." And the comments kept coming as people continued sharing their opinions. Haley finished her work early that day. After she had dinner with Garrett and the others, she went back into the office. When taking a break from work, she went online and started playing games, but ended up losing. It was rare for her to lose at video games, and she was very upset about it. She decided to ditch the games and then just surfed the internet to see if there was any news about Elizabeth and Logan. She looked at the online rumors about their relationship. What she saw online was a shocker for her. "Elizabeth is a big star. A mere secretary cannot be compared to her," she read. The person who said this was probably Elizabeth's fan. They had always dreamed that their favorite star would marry someone as rich and enigmatic as Logan. Although they usually denied the rumors about Elizabeth and Logan, they were still secretly happy. Everyone knew Logan was the most desired man ever. Countless rich girls wanted to marry him. Elizabeth was the only girl whose name was attached to him. This meant that the relationship between the two of them must be real. Most people knew that Logan backed Elizabeth in all ways that he could. The fans had previously denied it. However, now that there were rumors about a scandal between Logan and Violet, they were a little anxious. Firstly, they felt that they had lost face. It was hard to accept that Elizabeth had actually lost to an ordinary person. Secondly, once she lost her backer, she would not have the resources she needed to be successful. She would not be the main character every time. She would not endorse the big brands in the US and overseas. She wouldn't be able to wear all the high-end dresses that she did. The fans who knew about this were naturally anxious. This also included Elizabeth's assistant. Logan had also appointed Elizabeth's manager. The manager had to look after her and make sure that she did not cause any trouble. Secondly, he had to help her make her mark in the entertainment industry. However, due to his connection to Logan, Elizabeth was not very close to him. She was closer to her assistant, and the assistant knew it. Elizabeth was also her boss, so she was naturally very concerned about her situation. Therefore, she often went to the forum to look. When she saw some of the negative comments, she would hire a spammer and spread intimate photos of Elizabeth and Logan all over to distract people. Today, she couldn't do that though. The photos could not be released at all. All the major forums had restrictions. The assistant was very anxious, but she did not know who had done it. She was just trying to figure out what was going on, so she secretly encouraged Elizabeth's fans to make fun of Violet. They did not even bother to cover it up and directly started to humiliate Violet. They said that she had 2 children who did not know who their father was. They said that she had been slutty since she was young, and they said that Violet eloped with someone before she graduated from university. It was very evident that they were trying to point fingers at her character so that people would start hating her. How can such a woman be compared with Elizabeth? Logan would have to be blind to choose her. What does anyone even see in her? Just an ordinary girl with nothing more? They commented, "You are not rich. How do you know what rich people think?" Someone pointed out, Maybe rich people like amorous young women. They added, the difference in status is too great. One is a superstar, and the other is a shameless woman. The fans continued to say, how can you talk about someone like that? Is this how Elizabeth's fans behave? The comments defending Violet kept rolling in. Besides, Elizabeth and Violet are both a part of the Kingston family. They have the same roots, essentially. Logan seems to have something with the Kingston family. Although there were rumors before, it was the first time Violet's identity was exposed so directly. Initially, Logan was the one protecting her. No one dared to offend Elizabeth, but now it was different. Violet looked very ordinary to most people, so the fact that Logan actually risked his life to save her children made many people now believe that Logan had a change of heart, and Elizabeth's status as his partner was not guaranteed. Naturally, there were many competitors who were anxious to slander Elizabeth too. This was a rare opportunity. They could not let it go, or else they would not be able to gain a strong foothold in this industry. The comments on the internet confused people even more, and eventually they did not know who to believe. Should they side with Elizabeth or Violet? They didn't know. Episode 60. The competition grew fiercer. When people heard that Violet was the one who went missing from the Kingston family, the opinions on the internet immediately changed. People said that Violet was the real daughter of a rich family and that she had studied finance. She was more suitable to be the daughter-in-law of a wealthy family like Logan's, as opposed to Elizabeth, who was in the entertainment industry and was manipulating the public opinion behind the scenes. After all, Elizabeth had offended a lot of people in the entertainment industry over the years. She relied on Logan to support her, and so she did what she thought was right. She wouldn't be as popular if it weren't for Logan. As she read all the comments, Haley laughed so hard behind the computer that her stomach hurt. She saw how the Kingston family was being ridiculed and felt extremely good. She decided that when she returned home at night, she would share all of this with Violet to make her happy. They couldn't do much about the Kingston family right now, so this felt good. If she knew Miranda had almost fainted from anger, she might have done something to celebrate. It was true. Miranda was very angry. She almost smashed the computer in the office. Charles pushed the door open and came in. When he saw the horrid expression on her face, he hurriedly asked her what was going on. But in his heart, he was muttering to himself, thinking that Miranda must be going through menopause. She threw tantrums and her face was detestable. He tried to stay away from her to escape her wrath. "That bloody niece of yours!" Miranda snarled as she glared fiercely at Charles. "It's all your fault that you didn't kill her back then. Now she has returned to Los Angeles, and look at what she's done. There's havoc everywhere." "What happened?" Charles asked. Violet had nothing. She was working under Logan. How could she be a threat to the Kingston family? "If anything goes wrong between Elizabeth and Logan, I will make you pay with Violet's life," she exclaimed in a rather loud and intimidating tone. "What is wrong with you?" Charles responded. 4 years ago, Miranda acted on her own accord and killed his father, and that is what worried Charles the most. Charles often had nightmares that woke him up from deep sleep. He wasn't like Miranda, and that was pretty evident. Miranda was vicious and ruthless. The old man was not related to her by blood, so she naturally did not hesitate to kill him. This showed that she could kill anyone for her own selfish reasons. But no matter what, he was still the old man's son. If this secret was revealed one day, how could he live? What would the others think of him? He had wanted to kill Violet, but who could guarantee that nothing would go wrong? If he did not do it cleanly and left behind evidence, then he would be in grave danger. You still have the face to say that to me. It's all because of how incapable and useless you are. Thanks to the Alexander family, the Kingston family has been unable to squeeze into the ranks of the top wealthy families. If we squeeze into the top ranks, the Alexander family won't dare to look down on us. Miranda added, "Why are you so vain?" Charles frowned. "I'm vain. If the Kingston family was powerful enough, Elizabeth and Logan wouldn't have so many problems in the first place," she yelled as the debate between them heated up. "Didn't Logan and Elizabeth get along well?" Charles asked, growing more and more confused. Logan had gone to visit Elizabeth a few days ago. Their photos were all over the internet, too. Anyone who saw Charles would have to greet him with a lot of respect, knowing that he was Logan's future father-in-law. Charles would remain modest and just say, "We don't deserve it." He said that the children's marriage had not yet been decided. However, he had already decided in his heart that the Alexander family would be their in-laws in the future. He didn't care about the other people in Los Angeles. He never begged for help in business. He was very prideful. If Miranda had not helped the Kingston family, they would definitely not have been in the position that they were. Miranda felt aggrieved by his behavior. Her husband was a coward. Although she could take charge of the company, she did not have a backer. So now, all the hope of the Kingston family was placed on Elizabeth. How could she not be angry? She was trying all she could to make sure that things worked out the way she wanted. Logan and Elizabeth's marriage is something that will happen sooner or later. Moreover, Elizabeth is a celebrity. She naturally has to be careful, Charles explained. Yes, I also want everything to go smoothly, but your niece is not an easy person to deal with. You don't know. She actually used her children. One can only imagine how shrewd she is. Miranda responded in a scathing tone. What happened to the children? Charles asked. He had heard that Violet had come back from abroad with 2 children. It was very embarrassing. In addition, he had a guilty conscience and never talked about his niece with anyone. He felt like it was a disgrace to the family. However, Miranda did not answer him. Those 2 children are also not easy to deal with. She said instead, "Why do you say such things?" Charles asked, shaking his head. He was not defending the children. He simply felt that Miranda was different from before. In the past, she was so gentle. Now she had turned into this hostile person who didn't care about anyone at all. I have something even worse to say. Your niece is really a disaster for the Kingston family, she snapped. What about her? If she really did do something wrong, if she did something to hurt Elizabeth or tarnish the reputation of the Kingston family, I will make sure I punish her. Charles spoke firmly. If there was a reason, he would put Violet in her place, but he needed proof. If they could bring her back to the Kingston family and lock her up, then everything would be fine. 2 illegitimate children could be raised as they pleased, or perhaps they did not want to raise her anymore. After a few years, they would think of some way to make her disappear quietly. This was not a difficult thing for the Kingston family. She deliberately put her children in danger. Then she guessed that Logan would be kind enough to save them. Now, rumors are circulating all over. People are actually saying that Logan and Violet have some kind of a special relationship. Miranda shouted in anger. How is that possible? Logan could not possibly choose a slut like her. Charles frowned and waved his hand to say that Miranda was making a mountain out of a molehill. You think too highly of this girl. How could she be that smart? If she were so powerful, she wouldn't have run away back then. He pointed out. Of course, Violet had been badly hurt at the time. However, she was prepared to take revenge this time. Nevertheless, Charles felt that Violet was not that powerful. Lionel had also dumped her back then, and she had no one. It was just Miranda feeling guilty and anxious. That was why she was so afraid. You also know what happened back then. Perhaps she knew about the relationship between Elizabeth and Logan. That's why she went to the Smith group to be his secretary. Is this the reason why you broke everything? Because she's Logan's secretary? I don't think it matters. Charles rebuffed her. Clearly, he and Miranda did not see eye to eye on this. You don't know anything. Miranda rolled her eyes. Logan is surrounded by too many beautiful women. How could he fall in love with a woman with a child? Charles argued. Moreover, Violet's reputation was still so bad that Logan's grandmother could not agree to the match. You think too small. I threw things because Violet, who should have been kicked out of the Smith group, was still staying in the hospital to take care of him. Logan, who was supposed to announce his relationship with Elizabeth, actually turned a blind eye to the video of him and Elizabeth on the internet. Miranda screamed. Charles did not understand what this had to do with it, so he wanted Miranda to explain things further. She told Charles about what she did, and the result was completely different from what she had planned. It made Miranda really uneasy, and she kept feeling that things were out of her control. Then, do you know that he sent people to delete all the photos of him and Elizabeth online? She asked as she looked at Charles in the eye to see if he would still be dismissive. Couldn't he see the seriousness of the problem even now?